Hey everybody, this is Dimensions of the Supernatural. I'm Maureen Grudzinski, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Anthony Simonelli, otherwise known as...
Mr. Forget About It. How you doing tonight?
How is everyone? Yes, Chris, we are here. This is the show. We're running a little bit late. I'm having some physical issues. We did some interesting investigating the last couple of days, and it's been rough. I'm having a paranormal hangover. So I don't know if I'm not feeling so great. I'm going to have Anthony take over. So we're going to see how this goes and then go from there. Hi, everybody. Let's see who we have. We have... I'm not sure who that is.
Hey, Chris.
CND boy. I don't know who that is, but hi. Ron, Chris, all good? Bobby, Shannon, Jordan, Sonia. Hi, guys. Nice to see everybody. Oh, hi, Tammy. We have some people that we all know and love. We have Lourdes and Ron coming in. We will be seeing them around 8 o'clock. So we're just going to kind of talk about some things. And if anybody has any questions, please ask. Yeah. Let's see. So we had an interesting investigation, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. Very good. I think we have got a lot of, a lot of information from what we did, a lot of evidence. So we'll see what happens. I still got to do my reviews.
Yeah.
I have 3 cameras to work with, so I got to see what I can get on that. So that'd be great, what we get out of it.
Yeah. So we were filming for Dark Echoes production company and TV show. And this was our final episode before our season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super active place. I don't know if we can say where.
No, you can't because, when the show comes out, you'll find out all the different locations we've been to. So.
I know that a lot of people have guessed where we were, and I know that we have, it's been mentioned on Facebook. So I don't know if Matt can maybe let us know. I'm going to send him a message and see if he wants to kind
of. That's good. It was interesting how the episode starts, how the psychic has no idea where we are. Nothing's looked up before time. Everything is nice. And they come in, they're blindfolded, they get dropped off in the middle of the place. And the guest investigator actually unblindfolds them and walks them around. And then they do their reading. They do a reading right then and there. So I like the way it's done.
Yeah. It's a very interesting way.
It's really good how it's done because they have no idea where they are. No idea. And then they get their readings and stuff. So, I've been doing this a long time, a lot longer than most people have comments that they have about things. But this is a good show. It's going to be coming out. And when it does come out, we're going to be blasting this thing on our show and hopefully some other shows. And, we'll see what happens,
Yeah. We're putting little clips of, I don't know if it's now considered episode 2 or episode 1. That was my episode where I walked in and I was blindfolded. And you're right. It's really an interesting. It's an interesting thing going in completely blind and not knowing. And I was driven up to the location, and the person who drove me kind of drove me in circles all over the place. And I was kind of guessing, are we near a cemetery? Is there a wedding happening right now? Is there something to do with a white horse kind of like reared up. Was there a fire here? Like, it just seemed like nothing kind of went together. But when you see this, it's crazy how all of these things mesh together. But when you're the medium walking in and you're blindfolded, it's just really unnerving at first. And then you're kind of like, oh my God, how does that go together? It's just so crazy that it just matches up with everything. And, I always get things before I get there. And I'm starting to notice that I'm getting things, further and further out. The last couple, I was getting things 4 days in advance. And I didn't know that that's what it was at the beginning. Like the first one, I was feeling super, super dizzy and I was getting headaches. And when I got there, it kind of all went away. But then as I would go to each room, those symptoms would kind of show up. So then I realized, oh my gosh, this all kind of goes together. And it's really crazy how that all pans out. I don't know. Do you get things like that happen to you, or
Before an investigation?
yeah?
Well, sometimes you have dreams. Sometimes I had dreams of certain locations, and when I'm there, they actually seem to be, something that I might have dreamt about before. But when I walk, sometimes when you walk towards a location, because I don't go in blindfolded because I'm an investigator, and you go in and you could just feel the energy sometimes just going into places, and sometimes the energy just draws you to certain areas of the building or just where you are. And it's interesting how you pick up things. Yeah. I used to love doing that when I had my team. I had one time I had like 14 people on my team, and we went to Gettysburg. And because since I'm a sensitive, I walk into like a location, especially in back of Gettysburg College. There used to be an empty field, and now it's like a football field, but it was empty with trees and everything. And the one time we went there, it was a group of us, and I'm like looking at a tree, and it looks like I see something shooting and sparkling in the tree. So I tell everybody, just do me a favor, face your cameras that way. They took pictures. A couple of people caught pictures with the, with the sparkle in the tree, and I'd be saying point here, point there, because I was feeling things in certain areas and picking up things on cameras. So
Yeah.
that's how I've done it in the past.
What do you think? Like, what energy did you feel when you first walked in?
This place?
Yeah.
This weekend?
Uh-huh.
Well, I've been there once before as an investigator. So as an investigator, when I first walked there, I had a lot of when I walked in a certain area, and I wasn't feeling good. I got injured in that one area. So like I said, I'm not going to give too much more because people could pick up if I talked about that story already.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had injury when I walked in. I knew it was a certain. See, I can't say everything because I'll start giving things away. But I know. So I'm trying to watch what I say.
It's so hard, isn't it?
And me watching what I say, and people are like, you?
Yeah.
Because I just blur things out.
This
it was an interesting place. It was an interesting place
good.
and everything. Yeah, it was a good place. And
It's,
I'm looking to go back there with a group of my investigators because it was so good.
I would totally go back. That
Yeah.
I would like to see if the energy changes. The energy that I got when I first walked in the door was like, I don't know. It felt so strange. Hey, Matt. Okay, so Matt's here. Matt, what kind of information are we allowed to give? Because we're trying to be super careful, but we want to have everybody know what they're allowed to, what we can tell them. We said that the energy as soon as we got there was odd. It was definitely super active. And I had information given to me way before. Oh, Heather Besser says she's seeing things before she investigates happens to her as well. It's a great feeling knowing the spirits are aware that you will be there.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually told that they were waiting for me, which I thought was really strange. Except for the fact that these particular entities were not what I wanted to have waiting for me when I got there.
They enjoyed you, so.
Oh, they loved me.
Mm-hmm. They really did. But it was a very interesting location, so it's going to be good on the show, whatever happened. We just filmed the episode.
Okay, so he just filmed an episode of Dark Echoes Paranormal Show, and it will be out next year. Can't talk about what happened.
Yeah, we can't. So.
Oh yeah, Heather, I'd like to talk to you as well. You can always friend me.
Hey Heather, I'm extra large.
You're not a medium. I'm not a medium.
I'm not a medium. I'm extra large. Well, I'm just lying because I'm a double XL. So, I'm trying myself. See, I'm not really this big. It's putting 20 pounds on me. The screen.
That must be what it is for me too.
Yeah, it's not me.
Double chin is what it like explodes.
I only got one chin.
Yeah. It was okay. So we can say this. It was definitely a hugely active investigation.
Mm-hmm.
We were really excited to get there. And it was not what I thought it was going to be at all. It was way more active. For the first night, I think it gave way more than we expected. And the second night was like blown out the box, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, like I said, we can't talk about things, so.
Yeah, this is
so
tough.
It was good. It was good. We're going to have a good time, and when it comes out, everybody's going to enjoy it. So it should be, like I said, once it comes out, we'll just tell everybody.
It was hot for sure.
Yeah,
and it was hot, and it was hot.
Yeah, it was active, very active.
It was definitely.
They let us know that they were there too. Yeah.
And we actually stayed there, so that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we got to smoke cigars too. I got some downtime in there. I got my cigar in. Yeah.
Yeah. This was a definite good time, and we still have the finale to come, so that should be interesting as well. And we're super stoked for that, especially at 4:30 p.m. sleeping. Oh, a.m. sleeping.
4:30. Yeah, every night.
It wasn't really a sleeping location.
It was fun. It was good. It was a fun place.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next one. They keep getting better and better, I think.
Yeah, I just, well, yeah. Like, we should have a good time. Look, I'm disappearing.
You are.
Look it.
It's when you fold yourself up is when you kind of slide down the portal.
Oh boy.
So
my kids asked me what I want for my birthday. It's coming up. I said, make a green screen.
Just paint that wall green.
Yeah, that's too much work. You're kidding. That's work.
Anthony, check your messages.
Check my messages. Okay.
How come I'm not getting messages? I feel left out. So tonight hi, Katie Holte.
Katie.
Thank you for liking and sharing. Oh, you're working on a gizmo. I'm looking for gizmos.
Which gizmo? You gonna read my brain again, Katie? You gonna read my brain one more time?
I would love to try out their machine. I think that would be really super cool. Katie, we need to get together. Hi, Steve. Are you guys on the same computer, or are you like in different rooms or floors?
Don't worry, Ron and Lourdes will be on. Just Ron is doing his hair right now, so it takes him a little while.
So who is it going to be? Is it Ron and Lourdes, or is it Ron, Lourdes, and Tony?
No, it's Ron and Lourdes tonight.
Okay. So they're going.
We're going to have definitely an episode with all of them, but you have to give Tony a little more time and Sherry, because they're 3 hours difference.
Yeah.
We go on, and they're just getting home from work. Like they're like what? Or they're still at work.
They're 3 hours.
I think it's 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just getting out of work and getting home or whatever. So we got to give them a little more time, and we'll definitely have them on later on our next show. Not next show, but in one of the other shows. So I definitely want them. Tony's on. Look at my shoulder right now.
He's looking very handsome.
Yeah. Well, all three of these guys here, I'm the better looking guy.
Steve, I think that you may be a GonYac stalker, but there's no one worse than this guy over here.
I don't stalk.
Oh.
They know where I am. They know. I'm in their faces.
So we're going to be discussing knowingly talking to the unknown, which is very interesting. And we're going to be seeing a clip of that. They're amazing people. They're super intelligent. This is probably the most dynamic thing ever created. And I may be biased, and I might think that way because they are friends. But I always say that it's kind of like a telephone to the other side, which how can you not want that if you've lost someone who you love so much and you want one last time to speak to them? And it's not one last time. If you have one, you can speak to them over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But
they came a long way with this. I mean, from Ron started with his boombox. Yeah, this is the big 70s boombox with shortwave on it, and bringing it in and listening to that for hours at a time. I mean, I've sat with them with that back then when it first started. But it was interesting how from that boombox, from the 70s boombox to what they have now, and it's computer screen and everything else, and the clarity of what they're doing is, it's unbelievable. So,
yeah, I mean, they've even come far since last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when you put Tony and Ron's mind together, it's like they got something going on. They between them, they play off each other, and they come up with what's now called Staticom, and it's awesome. Really is.
Yeah,
it is.
They're two brilliant people, and we can't leave Lourdes and Cherie out because
no, you can't leave them out.
Just as awesome.
Well, Ron. That's why we're putting Ron on here, because for us trying to explain this, we call Ron Ronopedia, because he's like all the word. He talks about this for hours, and he says all these big words, and I'm like, kind of too big for me, but he knows what he's talking about. That's why we're putting Ron on for it. So
he's so brilliant, and he explains things in such a way that you're not just like, or you like turn your ears off. It's just so interesting to listen to him, and it's very layman's terms, and he's so sincere about it, and he's welcoming and kind and sweet, and you could be captivated by him for hours. Everyone loves to listen to him speak. It's just so easy to listen to.
Yeah. Like I said, you got him and Tony together and getting this together. It was something, you know, how they merged and they started doing this. You know, so what they came from to now. So, you know, like I said, Ron will explain himself, and who knows? I know he wants to play stuff from the doc because they're right behind me. That's their documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see it? See it? I'll disappear again.
The portal and pull that right back up.
See it? Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that there is a documentary called The House in Between, which was done by Steve Gonzalez from the Ghost Hunters. And there's a smarty pantses right now.
Hey!
Hey! Hi, guys!
Hey, look on the side of me.
You're surrounded.
Wait, should I change mine to?
When I disappear, I just showed you a thing like, oh.
I was just talking about The House in Between and how Steve Gonzalez was, you know, producing that. And I don't know if a lot of people know about it. It's about a house that a woman purchased, and she could not get answers, and she even moved out. But then there was a second part to it because they were so in awe of everything that was happening. Then I guess they still didn't really have answers, but they really wanted something that was different because they weren't getting a whole lot. So they brought you guys in to use Staticom so that they can find things out. So there's also another documentary with you in it.
Not exactly. And I wish that were true. What happened was they made a first movie, did very well. Alice Jackson did buy the home, stayed for a few months. There was a lot of activity. She did move out. She does stay there sometimes, but she moved out, and I think Steve Gonzalez was the first one. Steve, along with Kendall Welton, produced both movies. They made a second one because they wanted to do even more of a deep dive. They did ground penetrating radar. They brought Elizabeth Saint in. So those were the two movies. We had nothing to do with the documentaries. If they do a third by some chance, we would love, and we would hope they would pull us in to do it. They brought us down because when we did our Monday night show, Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence, one night we had a guest cancel 45 minutes before the show, and nobody had new evidence clips cut to share short notice except for me. I was starting to build some up for the next time we would do our own evidence show, which occasionally we would do. So I had no idea, but that night the only evidence we showed was ours, of all six of us. And Brad Cooney happened to be watching. Brad was one of the investigators along with John Bullard, who was in both movies. So Brad talked to John. He kind of showed him the evidence on the show we showed. And they wanted us to come down because I think when Steve Gonzalez was running, especially the first one, I don't know if they did any really EVP stuff. He was very strict with what was admissible as far as what was used because he wanted to make sure that it was vetted, that it was done right, no false positives. He was very, very protective of his reputation. That is not a bad thing. So these guys were really curious, and then they showed Alice. They were really curious to have us come down because not only did they not do a ton of vocal stuff in the films, they had never seen anything like what we do. I mean, obviously the standard for the longest time has been the ghost box or the spirit box. So that was the reason they brought us down. And so we did a week vacation in New Orleans, rented a car, drove up to Jackson, stayed there the weekend. Alice Jackson could not be a nicer person. She stayed with us that weekend. She goes, I hope you don't mind it. You know, if you guys want me to stay, I mean, it's your house, of course. She made breakfast. She went and picked up breakfast. She took us to dinner. I mean, she was sweet. We got there. I brought her, John, and Brad each a copy of all 3 of my books as a thank you. When we got there, she was already reading my 3rd book, Digital Seance Initiative, sitting in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why we went down.
So we went down for an investigation, pretty much,
Yeah.
a weekend investigation that they wanted us to come down to.
Yeah,
Okay.
that vacation.
Hopefully,
The whole week vacation, that.
Yeah, well, because to go down just to Mississippi, we figured we would, we need to take more than just a day or 2 off, like a long weekend. So we turned it in. She had never been to New Orleans before, so we went down there and we ended up getting to spend time with Bloody Mary, who's been on a bunch of the TV shows. She has her museum down there. That turned out really cool. So, but maybe Maureen, because you put it out there in the ether now about documentary there and us, maybe they'll do a 3rd one and somebody will call us.
I'm manifesting for you.
And listen, I'll take it.
Thank you.
We'll take any kind of festing.
Yeah, Uncle Festing.
Not infesting.
We got Chris on the show. Chris is in the audience.
Christoph Allgood?
Both
Oh, the whole day they're watching?
Yeah, Steve.
That's awesome.
Katie.
He
Hi,
said,
guys.
Chris Allgood said, right there are 2 of the greatest people I have ever known.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What about us?
Same for us.
What about us?
Yeah, hey.
It's funny that you should say that because I said, thanks, Chris. So nice of you to say that about Anthony and me.
These 2 are the greatest people.
You guys really are.
I mean,
You're the sweetest, kindest people ever.
We're grateful that we learned. I guess for me, it was a little bit longer. I've been doing this longer than Lourdes, but she's been doing this like 5-6 years now. That it's cool to have a team and to be on a team. But for us, like we started realizing if we just operated as a unit and we were just us, we could work with who we wanted to. There's people we love to work with whose work complements ours, who learn from us, who teach us. And so we started doing that, and that's what made this really enjoyable. So yeah, Anthony's with us constantly. Audra and Chris and Tony and Sri Rathman, as often as possible, considering the geographic challenges to that. But we did finally all get together once in May. So yeah, we're very grateful for the people we work with.
That's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Well,
And the whole
I
taste.
enjoy working with you guys. So, we're stuck.
We are stuck.
Stuck with me, and I'm stuck with you.
Yep.
So we were talking about knowingly talking to the unknown.
Ah.
We wanted to throw that out there as an advertising, but what made you get involved in this?
Well, here's what happened. So the title, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, the title's derived from my first book, which is Paranormally Speaking, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown. And that second slug line, the knowingly talking part, was Tony Rathman's idea. We were trying to come up with a title. Him and Sheree and us 2 had been working on direct radio voice, or DRV, for some time. Lourdes and I for probably 3 years prior to them getting involved. And them getting involved has been a huge plus. So we wanted to do something documentary-wise. We've preached. I probably sent more people to watch the documentary Calling Earth, which is on Vimeo, which shows EVP and ITC stuff and the people who pioneered it. Shows Marcello Bacci, Dr. Annabelle Cardoso, who was my mentor. And we wanted to make what would be, for lack of a better word, I don't say metaphorically or, just unofficially a sequel or follow-up to that with today's changes and where the development of ITC and stuff has gone, which is instrumental transcommunication. So we were like, all right, let's do a documentary. And a film was the original idea. But between testimonials and stuff we wanted to explain and show, it was starting to turn out to be a Kevin Costner movie, which is, if you know, they're like 3 hours plus. And we're like, nobody's going to sit through this. I don't care how fascinated they are. And then Chris and Audra, when we were in North Carolina just a few months ago in May, said, why don't you do a docuseries? So that's what we did. So imagine Tony Rathman as the editor of this project. I've edited segments and segment produced some of it, but he did the full length edit. So imagine having these pieces. If anybody's ever edited any kind of video, he's got everything laid out. It's all set up for this documentary movie. And it's like an hour and change long. And all of a sudden somebody goes episodes. You're like, he's got to recut it all over again and figure out what goes with what. So, I mean, tremendous job Tony did on putting this thing together. So
what he did with the promos, those he did a fantastic job just on the promo.
I actually did the promos.
Oh, and I'm giving Tony all the credit. Oh,
yeah,
they were okay then.
Well, the docu-series is all Tony, the docu-series.
Yeah,
but the promos, most of them are Ron's.
Yeah,
Tony did a couple too.
Yeah, they're okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
it's fantastic. No, yeah, they came out really good.
Thank you.
I mean,
the editing of the whole series is no matter how dynamic and good the promos came across. Doing the whole series is a lot harder. To have continuity and remember what went where with what, and did you include this and did that go that way? And
that's a lot of work.
It's a lot. It's a lot more work. Yeah,
put everything together like that, you know.
It's a different skill set, and he's masterful at it. When you see the episodes, he did a really good job. That was one of the first comments, feedback wise, we got from where this is going to air now, which is on Paraflix.
Awesome.
They loved. Thank you. They loved how it was put together. The editing and the flow of it was one of the things they complimented. So, which was great because for us, we all love Tony and we all love the project. So for us, it's hard sometimes. As Tony always says, right? When you're too close to it,
yeah, it's hard to judge it. Yeah.
So I have the promos both queued up. If you wanted to show them, I could share screen and we could do one and then do the other one later, or whatever. At any point, just for people who haven't seen it.
If you don't want to hear us talk anymore, put it on. Hey, you know, you don't want to hear.
Forget about
it. Hey, put it on. Hey.
Hey.
So it's exciting. It's exciting to. Oh, I don't know where I am. Is that what you're doing? I don't know where I am.
Come on, Chris is in the audience. I know he's going to do that.
I'm gonna put together a huge bloopers reel, and it's going to be a lot of this. So if you want to put up your reel,
I could do a share screen for one of them, and then we can do the other one a little bit after, just to separate them.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Over there, we'll do the short one first. I don't know if she likes this one better.
Chris said he did this along with us.
You know, I'm sure he did. That's something really cool. I also believe, and we've said this to them, I don't think that Staticom wouldn't be Staticom if Tony and Shree weren't involved. We changed the name from Direct Radio Voice. Method-wise, we're doing the same thing that we had innovated with ITC, which was to take the review part of cleaning up the sound, slowing it down. We put that in the moment of contact. That we did with Direct Radio Voice. The live filtration part of it, the slowing down part of it, moving it to that point. But the thing that happened that we changed the name for was that Tony, and then at the same time, almost Lourdes had a similar idea based on two different instances. We did the Sterling Mine in New Jersey with New Jersey Paranormal, and we got voices under the surface of the earth where there was no radio or cell signal whatsoever. And then Tony did a live demonstration, which was really ballsy, and he used a sleep machine with pre-recorded white noise on a chipcorder just to see if white noise without radio reception would work. And it did. But what he exposed was that he had a 3-second loop on the white noise machine, which is if you're sleeping, you wouldn't notice. It sounds the same. But every 3 seconds, he got a response from Spirit, and every 3 seconds it played again. Every 3 seconds,
the same response.
So that's when he figured out that it was imprinted on the chipcorder. But from those two things, the curiosity was, can we do this without a radio, which takes the low-hanging fruit from the cynics that say, oh, maybe you're getting bleed through radio. Now we can't. We can't receive or record anything. We're using a generator that makes the white noise, and with no ambient opportunity for contamination, we're filtering it immediately. So there really is no data and no reason for voices at all.
That was brilliant how that came out, how you guys figured out, hey, maybe it's not the voices, maybe it's this static. And then you worked with the static without the, like the voices coming in or whatever, coming in. So that was really something, because now you're not trying to filter out voices, voices. Now you're just trying to do the static, and you're doing with the static now. And I thought when you started doing that way, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good thinking.
Part of that also came from, to be honest, that was from her, because she started pointing out that when you listen to audio evidence from a ghost box or a spirit box, a lot of times the voices sounds buried into the white noise, like not as loud. Sometimes it sounds right.
Yeah, depending on, this is what we think, depending on where the voices resonate, it'll either sound really high and you hear it above the sweep, where Ron likes to say it replaces the sweep, or you hear it underneath the sweep. That's where you hear the voices. So we don't think it's because it's coming in louder or softer. It's because wherever the voices resonates within the frequencies, that's why it sounds louder or lower.
So that's what we figured out from her pointing that out, was it's called stochastic resonance. White noise, every frequency from 20 hertz to 20,000 a human can hear. Anything that enters into the white noise, it resonates with just one of those. Those two will get louder, but the rest of the white noise remains unaffected. So your signal to noise ratio is enhanced, and what was not detectable is, and then we're filtering away excess white noise and cleaning it up in live moment of contact. So you get that resonance. So that's what she pointed out, was that we don't think, I mean, they may sometimes, based on resonance, interact with the frequency level that maybe, or the decibel level that where the vocals that are getting randomized through the sweep are, but they're not using those fragments as much as they're just resonating with the white noise, and that's where they come in. So that was part of.
Wait, Lourdes. So it's like, with all you guys together, all those brains together, that's how you got all this. Okay? Because I hear it's other people's names used more than yours, but you are the brains in the outfit.
I'm a little small part. We all put in our opinions, and then from there we derive on a hypothesis.
Hey, listen,
right?
I've been around you. Ron has so much opinion before you allow him to have any more. Okay? So I know Ron's allowed to have opinions, but only so much. If any more than that, Loki puts a foot down.
I feel like I'm in kangaroo court all of a sudden. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I was pointing out too that that's the four of us, Tony, Sheree, and us two. That's where it moved forward. We were doing really well with direct radio voice, but through her pointing that out, the mine where we got voices under the surface of the earth, and then Tony's experiments. That's when we decided to try something else. And then Tony got the sleep machine first, and then we decided to get generators at the same time, which he inspired. And so that's how it became Staticom. We said we can't call it direct radio voice anymore because we're not using a radio.
I have to say, when I heard about when you guys went to static only, all that time we sat there on the phone and listened to the other stuff. And then it was like, it was just static we're listening to. That's what we had to listen to.
Yeah.
It's great. That was great.
The interesting thing about that is we did get vocals back then, but we didn't hear as many of them as we hear now. Mm-hmm. And that's because we weren't cleaning up the sound and slowing it down in real time the way we do now. So they were probably more present than we were aware of because we were not employing the use of stochastic resonance at that time.
I mean, if you took some of your old recordings and tried filtering it through, do you think it would work? Because you got more expensive and a lot better equipment too.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm exhausted for better equipment. I just recently I bought a gaming laptop because as we built out, and this I blame Tony Rathman for a little bit because
Tony's fault. You got to blame somebody.
We built out Staticom, making it Staticom, that I was running on a Windows Surface Pro tablet, which was, I think, came out in 2015. 8 gigs of integrated, RAM. It was no dedicated sound card. And if I looked in the corner of our digital workspace during sessions, I was anywhere between 83 and 99% of all resources. So I was starting to skip and buffer, and I was like, I can't. We're showing up places to do our Staticom, and we're doing skippity. I mean, this is not good.
Skippity scum.
Yeah, it's skippity scum. Yeah, it's not good.
Kind of hard to say.
It is
skippity com. Yeah.
There you go. So I just upgraded to a new computer. So I've literally in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been up later than I should probably, just trying to get back to where we were. Like we had cleaned it up. The voices were nice. And then we got a new machine, so no buffering, plenty of resources. But now it doesn't sound the same at all. So here we are.
They're starting like playing with your knobs again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good at that.
Playing with his knobs.
Wow. This.
He's a good knob player.
I think with all the experience and no maturity on our show, we would be prepared for that, but I was not.
Knobs, hey, you know how it is.
I know how it is.
Yeah, you know, forget about it.
But you know, Anthony, what you said, the running our old clips when we weren't running it filtered, it'll probably work. I mean, it's won't be real time. It'll be like viewing, your digital recorder, but it'll probably work, and we can probably discover more voices in there.
You probably, well, if anybody could do it, you guys can.
Oh,
You could
appreciate that, but
you can pull voices out of your ass. That's white noise.
We're bringing the worst out in him tonight.
I know. You guys are here.
We make him disappear sometimes.
Or that brown noise.
Probably more accurate.
See, look.
Yep.
He's like that Chester Cannon, Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
You know that he disappears.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true. What she said is what I was going to say is if we do it now, it's essentially what audio capture has always been, which is just cleaning it up and listening to it in review later on. But ITC was coined by a German physicist named Dr. Ernst Jankowski for the purpose of delineating between record and review, which at that point everything was called EVP back then. And he did it was in 90s or 80s, late 80s, early 90s, to differentiate between doing dialogue in real time. And that was what we looked at each other and went, well, if we want to have dialogue now, why would we wait till we go home to make the voices coming through better? So we started doing the filtration stuff, and that was compliments of crossing paths with Keith Clark, who's out of Florida from Paranormal. And he gave us a nice little foundation with it to put together with direct radio voice. And then we went to town with it over a couple of years, in which we continue to do with Tony and Sheree get involved, which is finding different components and ways to kind of run it and arrange it to maximize it. So Keith and I have been more in touch lately again, and he was looking at stuff we were running. And he goes, "Wait, oh, you're using that?" So he was surprised, but we're not doing music production, which is some of the pieces that we use are for. So conventional thinking and the design purposes of some of the components may be counterproductive to what we're trying to do, and some of it might not. So you literally have to try everything. Whereas, if you're producing,
even if it doesn't make sense, yeah, you gotta try it.
It's cool.
So
if you want to throw your clip on,
I'll put one of the trailers on. Let's see. I'll do the first one that she likes better. In the very, very beginning of this, this I call the emotional trailer more. It has my son, I think when he was like 10, 11 years old, like and my mom, who's been gone since 2019. So I think I have to share the whole. So I can share a video file. I've never done that before. I'm going to do a share screen so that the sound comes through too. Entire screen. Share system audio. Let me know if you hear everything, because I'm going to switch to the video once this is done.
I just want to say, Chris Allgood said it's called Fart Cam.
Fart Cam?
Yeah.
No, Staticom.
Staticom. That's funny.
He'll have a trademark before the show's over.
It creates the Espion noise. What's that say there?
I can't see it.
I can't.
Where?
Another thing.
Ambient noise.
Ambient noise. Oh,
Created that by
noise.
ambient noise.
Aspian. Wow, look, he went totally deep on that explanation. That's Chris Allgood. He pays it. He could find a black hair on a black carpet. That's how detailed that guy is.
He said that episode might stink, and ladies, we would all be winded.
Look at him going full astrology on us. All right. All right, so let's share the screen. It won't let me do it. Oh, I have to do the whole. Got it. Okay, here it goes. You see it?
No.
You see us on our screen?
I see you guys.
No, there's like another screen that gets created.
Does another screen get created?
Do you see 2 files in a folder now?
We see nothing. Oh, we see you guys.
I would have to like click on it to bring another one of you guys in.
But if I share my own screen, it should work. No? Let's try it again. Window, entire screen. All right.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, the share button's okay. Now it might work. I didn't do it right before. Yeah. Oh, you might have to bring it in. So go ahead and do that.
Okay.
That'll do it. There it is.
There she goes.
Now do you just see the folder?
Yep.
Yeah, the blue one is blue.
All right. So I'm not going to be able to mute everybody from here, but you should be able to let me know if you can't hear it. We'll play it again, but this should work now. I've shared the sound. All right, here goes. Here's the first one. This is the docuseries on Paraflix, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown.
I was just about to do.
Maureen.
I was reading the other stuff. Yeah, and I said yes. I looked.
Sorry about that.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
You gotta stop sharing.
That's awesome.
The sound came through okay?
Yeah, guys, that's amazing.
Cool.
Thank you.
Very
you.
good. And that's you. That's you. You did those.
I did that. I did this one, and the other one we'll show afterwards. Yeah, I made both of the trailers. It's the short form. I did segment producing for a couple shows on. Actually, one of them used to be on the Travel Channel. If you remember, Made in America with the John Ratzenberger. He was Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wrote and segment produced for a season or two of that show when on the earlier Travel Channel before it was the Paranormal Travel Channel. So I produced segments before. So the short form like that, I'm comfortable with. I have editing software that's capable, and I learn it. That stuff is not as hard for me. I actually enjoy the creativity of it. What Tony did on the long form of putting episodes together, that's a different animal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can't learn it, but I'm saying he did a lot of work.
I bet he did. Damn.
And great work. He did a really good job. The episodes came out really, really good.
Yeah, we're excited. We can't wait
How
for it
many
to come.
episodes are there going to be? It's going to be like
Tres.
Today's
3 episodes. Yeah.
That's
We got some really good testimonials, and we had some stuff we went through. And then the third episode has a roundtable discussion with Tony Sheree and us two, just answering some questions and criticisms and stuff that's come up, explaining where we see it, why we see it the way we see it, how it became what it is, and all that, which we thought was important after you got a summary of different people's experiences, testimonials, you heard evidence, you saw what we've done with it, recorded with it. Chance to discuss it and kind of share some of that roundtable stuff we wanted to do, which was Tony's brainchild, and it turned out, I think, really good, right?
Mm-hmm. It's very good. Yeah.
I
have
can't
fun doing
even
it.
imagine you guys having any kind of criticism of this because it's just so. I mean, I've seen it used many times now, and it's nothing short of phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
Oh, we appreciate that, and we watch you guys every week. Matter of fact, if you guys hadn't invited us on, I'd be watching you right now.
So now you can
Just
watch
saying.
yourself.
Yeah,
Is Facebook user on there? Is that Giuseppe?
probably.
Thank you guys.
Is that
Yeah.
you, Giuseppe? Because you're coming on Facebook user. Can't wait to
So-
see it. Joe, if that's you, please say it's Joe.
So hello, Lady V. All good. Joe Seppi.
And boy,
Zhang. And I don't know is it C and D boy? Ron, obviously.
I can't see shit tonight.
Whoever the Facebook
Is he
user is
shitting?
that says can't wait to see it. We have no idea who that is because we don't know who you are. Everyone
Yeah.
needs to see the docuseries Staticom.
Oh.
It's phenomenal and changes investigations completely. Jenny Colucci, I have to tell you, when we were away for our final episode, I actually referenced you on camera and I said our friend Jenny Colucci always uses the term paranormal lasagna, and she says that everything's layers. I love that. Now I have to use it all the time.
She's great.
You can't say short to Ron. That's my shtick.
Oh,
Just
yep, that's him. He's on.
He's on YouTube now.
he's using YouTube now.
He's on.
So, how did you guys wind up with this docuseries? Did someone come to you? Did you decide that you wanted to do this and you went to someone else? Did Patty Negri or Natalie Jones come to you? How did it work out?
Well, when Tony and Sheree got involved with direct radio voice, and then we, as I explained before, tried different things, experimented, ended up losing the radio, and hadn't changed the name to Staticom because we no longer had a radio, so direct radio voice didn't seem appropriate anymore.
So it wasn't
Tony-
a box no more.
Right. Nor was it ever.
Method.
It's a methodology.
Methodology.
Yeah, I know. I was a stickler about that, and I am still sometimes, because ITC is synonymous with Spirit Box and Ghost Box, and it's nothing wrong with that, except for it's a branding thing. And when people hear it or see it, they're like, "Oh, one guy had asked Tony for some project, mail me a box. I'll credit you, help you sell them." And he goes, "I can't. It's not what it is. It's not a box or a device. Could it be boxed up or made like that? Maybe, but the thing is that we're still experimenting with making it better. We don't think we've hit the jackpot yet. So to take everything we do and mash it into something, and then if something's not right or you need to fix something, you can't tune it once it's all couched inside a box. And it's difficult to keep experimenting on it going forward. So the open format of, I guess, of how we run it seems to be more conducive to continuing development, which Tony says we could be years still. We don't know what the limitations of this are. So Tony's been involved with a couple of documentary projects before. I have, from a producing side, I was involved with a couple, one of which was on Netflix before. It was called Don't Stop Believing Every Man's Journey, about the Filipino singer that they have in Journey. I was involved with that. So we wanted to do something to put out, because we've taken a lost art. Direct radio voice was lost, really. It's not on television here. Really, nobody knew it. Maybe I'm sure people have tried it or played with it, but nobody really dove in and dedicated like we had. So once we made strides with it and evolved it and it became Staticom, we wanted to do something to somewhat cement our legacies and somewhat kind of put out there, what we had done and reintroduce it to the field. Because Anthony was joking around, but the whole "it's not a box" thing, but we tried to dispel that, because with direct radio voice, it was difficult at first, that everything is spirit box, ghost box. Nobody had any concept of a methodology for ITC that wasn't. It was just as branded as if you got the little white thing to clean your ear. People go, I'm going to get a Q-tip. Q-tip's a brand. It's a cotton swab, but they have made the brand synonymous with the object. So that's a market advantage. So we were, from a marketing standpoint of getting this out there, we're at a huge disadvantage, because boxes had been the standard. It's the standard for what ITC is, and we love them. We've bought them. They work. This is different. And so in order to establish the identity of this methodology, we had to do something different. And so I was like, I'm going to be a little bit of a stickler when somebody goes, hey, where do you get that box? It's not a box.
No, it's not.
So as far as the documentary is, so they wanted to do a documentary, for the legacy and everything. And I think what helped with
it's not a box. Shouldn't
what? Oh, it's not. Yeah, that would have been a good.
The knowing talking or whatever. It's like, hey, it's not a box.
So I think what helped out with Paraflix is that before the documentary was even a thought, we went to Mass Paracon, Sam Beltruse's Mass Paracon, and we met Patty Negri, and she saw a Staticom. She experienced Staticom, and she was blown away. Then we did Hanover Tavern Paracon.
Yeah, with Steve Dills of Transcend.
Which is Steve Dills Paracon, where then the other owner of Paraflix, which is Natalie Jones, was there, and she experienced Staticom, and she was blown away. So when the gentlemen were done with the documentary, we decided to reach out to Paraflix, and since 2 of the 3 owners experienced Staticom, and once they saw the docuseries, they enjoyed it. They thought it was done well, so they took it in. They took it. So that's how that happened.
That's awesome.
Yep. They wanted to see screeners of it. We showed them the first trailer that you saw. The second one wasn't made at that time. And then they wanted to see screener episodes of, what it looked like. What's this product look like? And so Tony got arranged to get them the file so they could watch all 3 of them. And within less than a week, as they promised, a week or less, Natalie got back to us and went, this is really well done. All the feedback was really good. A lot of it on the production side, which again, credit to Tony, because, he had never done something of this magnitude documentary wise. And he, you don't know if people are going to go, oh my God, was this edited by somebody with hiccups? What happened? Right? You never know. But he did a fantastic job on it. And so luckily for us, a really good streaming service that has a ton of good content for paranormal wants it. We have links. If it's very affordable. I think for the year it's $40 to do Paraflix. If anyone wants to do it through us, we have a coupon code that gives you a discount for the first year. I mean, $40 for the whole year to watch not just us 4 chuckleheads, but other content. I mean, we've been out and had bad diner food for more than $40. So if you can digest that, you can digest us. Call them out.
I love it.
Well,
But they have a lot of shows on there.
Yeah, I have Paraflix. I do watch every so often. It is good. I like a lot of the shows on there.
Yeah.
And I just flip back and forth between that and my Netflix. So, but yeah, it's they do have a lot of good shows. And it's good to when you watch shows on there, and people and you worked with are on these shows. Besides you guys, there's other people that have shows on there. and that are in the field that are known, and you can meet them at Paracons or whatever, but just regular people like us,
Anthony, what would you rather spend your money on? Watching that or going to a sparkle party?
Ron, I got to play that video for you.
Apparently.
Her husband plays this thing. I mean, you can look it up on Netflix. German Sparkle Party.
You'll never be the same again.
You'll never be the same again. It's damaging your brain. I'm going home, going boop, 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 boop. I'm like, I can't get the freaking song out of my head. It haunted me for 2 days, and today I didn't get bothered too much about, but now they're bringing it up. It's coming back.
Yeah,
it's funny as hell.
I bet. Todd is funny. We hung out with Todd and Maureen when we were in Gettysburg. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he got some great dance moves.
Yeah.
Well, he was dancing the sparkle party for us. And he was ready to get rubber boots and the feather thing. And he's like, I'm like, what's going on here? We had an investigation or what's going on? He goes, it's a German sparkle party. It's like, holy God. Okay, I'm sleeping on my back tonight.
That just tells you that it's better to watch knowingly talking to the unknown.
Well, you'll see. Todd and Maureen will be on the 12th. So. So
very nice.
So we'll get Todd to dance in his boots.
So Todd could be the entertainment. We could all just sit back and watch.
Time to bring his rubber boots.
That's funny. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, German Sparkle. You got when you get off tonight, you just got to check that out.
Lady V is downloading the Paraflix app now. See that?
Oh, look at that!
Thank you.
Have you know what? Hold on, because I got the coupon code. If she's actually going to get it, even if she watches us a year from now, that's fine. But if I give her a code so she doesn't pay as much, why wouldn't I do that? I would. Here's why. Call now. Hold on.
Call now.
So the code. 25% off the first year for an entire year. So it's Staticom 25, all capitals. Staticom, which is in the name of our title here, what our names are. Staticom 25, and so if she signs up, she'll get 25% off. And it's already affordable to me, so that's pretty cool.
25% off. Paraflix, right?
Yep.
Hey, Maureen, your husband really made him pack on people at Gettysburg. See what
cool. Thank
Chris
you.
wrote?
He was what?
Look what Chris wrote. Chris Olgood.
What did you write?
Unknowing what Todd is doing.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Pretty close.
Impact.
Of course, Lady V. Thanks for signing up.
Not like this, though.
Yeah, we told Todd some of the stories at the dinner table that night we went to dinner with you guys, including the I don't know where I am, and he was laughing. We had a good time.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
He is. We had a really good time. Gettysburg was, as per usual, was fantastic. We're looking at a release date more than likely of this docuseries being the 18th of August, 9 p.m.
Oh, the 18th?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because she threw a couple dates out, so I think that's what we're going to go with. So it's only a couple weeks away.
That's
hey,
so
Virgil.
exciting.
Virgil from Manchester, England. Just
Hi, Virgil.
You're in England right now, guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
that was awesome.
What makes you the most excited about this?
We get to spend time with Anthony. The most excited is because the example I use, and I remember I probably learned this from somebody back in the day. It feels very turtle on fence post almost. Like you look at it and you go, I don't know how it got there, and I don't know what it's going to do next. When we started Direct Radio Voice over 4 years ago, we bought this big German Grundig boombox because we wanted a world band, long, short, medium wave to do Direct Radio Voice as I had seen it done in Europe. And so when we started, we had no idea. I mentioned this in the docuseries that people do vision boards right? Their life coaches will tell them, do a vision board, manifest the things you want, write them down, look at it every day, whatever. If we had done a vision board 4 years plus ago when we started doing DRV, a lot of what we're doing now probably would not even have been on there because we didn't know it was going to take the turn it did. Tony and Cherie getting involved was a huge impact and plus on what we're doing. Some of the things we tried, some of the things we experimented with, we had no idea certain things were going to play out. We never thought we would lose the radio element of it. Slowing down live white noise, to my knowledge, had not been done in ITC before until we tried it. Not slowing down the sweep, but the white noise itself, the disbursement of white noise, we slowed it down. So that's probably one of the things that I find most exciting about it is, and she's the best because when you hear voices and they respond, she has, and I hope she never loses it, she has that, like the first time a child puts on 3D glasses, like, oh my God, like she's excited every single time at that level because you're not conditioned to, even though we do this, right? People think we think everything's a ghost because we do this stuff, people who don't know. But the fact of the matter is we have a level of skepticism and criticism and critique in what we do. And so we don't just buy into everything. So when something slaps you in the face with, here it is, this is a direct response that should not even be there. Mm-hmm. It's sobering, right? And it hits you. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's sobering. I guess for me, yeah, I get excited when they answer us. Like, it's, if I say, or anyone says, how are you? And they say, I'm good. It's exciting. But I think now what excites me more, and I think Joe put it in there, I think what excites me more now is when someone is looking for a response from a loved one and it comes through, and their expression and how they receive it, what makes me happy and excited more now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get excited when we do our sessions and stuff, but I think that's the most exciting part for me, seeing someone light up because they just heard someone they loved go through,
No, that's
come
true.
through
It's awesome when you guys get those reactions and people. I mean, how many times I've been with you guys and people in the back are crying because they just heard somebody, that they haven't, that one of their loved ones that they miss so much.
Right.
Tell the story about the guy from the Para Unity, the old man that you got his wife.
Oh.
And then what's his name? A Bob got something also. So,
Yeah. So that was those instances were the impetus for us doing the Digital Seance Initiative, which ended up being the third book title for me. And I'm glad that was what she said first, because if I had thought about it, I might have had the same answer. And Giuseppe, very cool that he notices that when we do these things, because that was something else that wouldn't have been on that proverbial vision board either. Marcello Bacci did help people. He did touch people when he did direct radio voice sittings in Grosseto, Italy, most of whom were parents who lost children. We didn't know we would be doing that with this. We were just trying to see if we can get the voices as good as they had gotten, because nobody else was doing this method. So yeah, that is a big part of it. To see that, see Chris Allgood put down about touching people, but the phenomenal, intelligent, conscious, relative responses, unprecedented. It's a lot more like an open phone line. Again, the boxes work. We love them. But there seems to be a brevity to the messages, I think, that might be inherent in the methodology because of the sweep. If they're using white noise and stochastic resonance, I think giving them that on an open channel type of arrangement allows for longer communication to come through. The instance that Anthony was talking about was we have an ITC exhibit we do every year at the New Jersey Para Unity Conference in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Compliments of John Ruggiero and Chris Theron from New Jersey Paranormal. They do a phenomenal job. All the best paracelebs are there. It's the vendors. So we did the first exhibit. And by the way, our crew for the exhibit room, the ITC exhibit room, is Lourdes and Anthony. So when they do a fantastic job, like meeting the people at the door and getting them to come in to do the sessions and stuff. So the first year we did it, we ran it with the door open, people coming in and out, which we changed the next year. and we had actually closed door sessions. People could record, put their phones down. So for the first year, we're doing a session, and this gentleman was in the room for most of the day. He didn't even walk around. He had a walker. He was a heavier set gentleman, and he was just hanging out, ask a question here or there, and then he was ready to leave closer to the late part of the afternoon. And he goes, "Well, if my wife comes through, just tell her I said hi." And a lot of the mediums, inside earlier told me she's with me. And then Lourdes goes, "Wait, hold on a second. What's her name?" And he says, "Kimberly." We're all right. Well, you're here this long. Let's see if maybe we can get something. We'll ask a couple questions. So now that I've pointed out previously how Lourdes gets excited every time she hears something, this was very uncharacteristic of me. Within a minute after she told him to hang around and see if his wife Kimberly came through, I heard a female voice come through very clear. It resonated.
Just like that.
Yeah. It resonated lower. It wasn't as loud, but I heard it because I was sitting in front of the speaker, and it said, "That's my husband." And I kicked my chair out and went, "What?" And I walked out into the hallway, and it was like, no, and they're like, Anthony and Lourdes, like, "Where's he going?" And I waited, and I had to
quit. He's gone.
Yeah, I had to collect myself. I came back in, and then I explained what I heard. And I think a few months later, I sent the gentleman the recording.
Do you remember his name?
Yes, his name was Bob.
Bob. It's Bob?
No, George.
George.
It was
That's
George. Yes.
two chapters in the third book, Digital Seance Initiative, that are dedicated to him. First one's by George, I think she's got him, and the other one's by George, I think she's got him, part 2. So that was the first year. The next year, we have an IT exhibit room again in the back. We're next to Cody and Saturi, the paranormal couple, and we're doing our room again. And we didn't see this guy George again, and we've forgotten about that whole thing from the year before. What we think happened was because he spent so much time with us, he probably figured this year I'm going to see the rest of the exhibit, the main gymnasium room. There's so many celebs and people, and he didn't see any of that really. He hung out with us. So we never saw him that year. We weren't even thinking about it. After the exhibit day is done, a day or so later, Robert Bandroff of Rob and Sandra from Bearfort Paranormal posts something with a picture of this guy from behind with the walker standing by his table. He said, "This guy, does anybody know who this guy George is?" He goes, I recorded an EVP with a DR60, the Panasonic DR60. That shows you how good it works. He did it in the middle of an expo floor, and he got messages from the guy's wife. He goes, "Anybody know who this George guy is?" Now, Scott Davis had posted something, and he shared Robert's post. He goes, "George's name came through the digital seance in the back, and it was around the same time as that, and we didn't even put
the two together
at all."
Yeah, because as he was getting, when he got the EVP for George there, we at the same time was getting George's name through Staticom, and we're assuming it was his wife again because the year prior we got his wife. So that was interesting.
And there's a level of speculation.
Remember, his wife also worked at that school.
She did.
Yeah,
she worked
at that school. So
yeah.
that's what the relevant part about it. He came there to his listener's wife at the school he worked at. She worked at, and that's when you guys all picked up. So that was relevant also at the school.
What was funny about it was because Scotty put the post. Anybody know this guy named George? Because we got the name George, and we didn't realize it was the same George from the year before. It was like, wait a minute, that's that guy George from the year before. That was pretty cool.
I put Scotty's reposting of Robert Bandoff's post that had the picture of George with the walker. It's from behind, but I knew it was him.
Yeah, you can tell.
I put that picture in the Digital Seance Initiative book in the one chapter because we couldn't believe that we were getting the name George, and it didn't occur to us. It could have been anybody.
It's just weird because how it goes, because we're pretty close with Robert and Sandra.
That's true.
And then what are the odds that this man talks to our friends? There's a lot of vendors. But he went to Robert and Sandra, and then Robert, he said, "I don't know what made me do it." He goes, "I just said, you know what, let me take out the DR60." And he did. And then, then we all talking, and then we realized, wait a minute, that's George. And we were getting his name, and you over here getting EVPs from his wife and the year before. So that was what's interesting is how it was all connected, because out of all the people that Robert and Sandra can talk to, and out of all the vendors that George can speak to, they got together and that happened, and then it kind of tied into what we were doing.
Yeah. Chris Allgood put something in the comments too. A lot of these synchronous moments happen. It makes it harder to dismiss for us. We don't like to speak to certainty at a levels we can't substantiate. I mean, in a lot of things we're pretty confident, like when there's voices and pure white noise, there's no data there. There should be no voices there. At the length and clarity of some of these voices, to assume that those are warbles and artifacts of sound is a gross exaggeration. It's to say that the Atlantic Ocean is wet. It completely diminishes the almost impossibility of it. But these synchronous things have happened. And the one Chris is bringing up was, for the first time ever, Entity Voices team, Paranormal Investigations, the team behind the show, Chris and Audra, us two, Tony and Cherie, we're in the same location doing an investigation together for the first time ever in 3.5 years or so of doing the podcast in Charlotte, North Carolina. We were all guests. Chris and Audra were gracious enough to have us stay at their beautiful home. And we did the Montgomery House, which is a historic location that Chris and Audra are doing tremendous work for down there. And for weeks before that, when we were doing Staticom recording sittings here, and when we went to places like the Shanley and stuff, we kept getting James. Very clear, James, which, by the way, came through last night. Yeah. James. And so we're like, all right, we're getting this name a lot. Tons of people in the world named James. Is there a last name? What's your last name? Patterson. All right. Didn't think anything of it. We get to North Carolina and we ask Chris and Audra, does that name mean anything to you, the place? And they're like, no, not that we're aware of. No. So I don't know if you want to finish the story because I like the way you tell it. We do a walkthrough location before dinner. Then we're going to go eat, and then we're going to come back and investigate. But during the walkthrough part, tell them what happened.
So we're going up the stairs, and Tony's recording, and then we go to the Civil War room, right? Because it was a Civil War. That's what they call it?
I think so.
So we go into this room, and there's pictures everywhere. We're just looking around, and all of a sudden, I hear Audra go, so I look at her, and she slowly points to the wall. So I read it. As a lieutenant pilot there. What's his name? James Patterson. We were like, what? We couldn't even speak. We were like, oh my God.
It started weeks before that, and we were getting
crazy.
it in a number of different places. James Patterson. We asked for the last name, we got it. So that night, so Chris showed it on our show before. So the second time that I kind of came unglued from something, besides the By George moment at the expo, was at the Montgomery House, because I turned on Staticom, and within 5, 10, 15 seconds, I heard a couple of words. I was like, oh, it sounds good. And then I heard James Patterson. And you hear me, and Chris had a recorder running downstairs. You hear me coming downstairs going, no way, no effing way, no way, no way, no way, no way. Like the whole way down the stairs. I couldn't believe I just turned it on and the name came through. And he has it recorded from downstairs. His recorder got it.
And then what happened after that? In Chris's job.
Oh, my God. Chris's job, he works in windows.
Indoors.
Which go hand in hand. They both open.
Yeah.
Shows you how much I know about them. I know that I get Windex for those things, not for the doors.
So
open things up and close them back down.
Yeah.
Portals also open and close.
That's true.
I open things up and close them.
Yeah. I pick things up and put them down.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Sprinkle party.
So, and Chris can correct the story if but the gist of it was within a week after, not even after we did the Montgomery House, he gets a call at work when he's not at his desk. He misses the call. He leaves a voicemail. He listens to the voicemail. It's all like a staticky kind of a sound.
No voice,
just static. So he goes to check the caller ID because it logs calls like a normal caller ID. And if it's a customer, it'll pull up the name, maybe the account number, whatever. It shows you who it is. And so he listens to the voice thing, and there's nothing, just static. Then he looks at it, and he sees the name on the display, so he calls this customer back, and he goes, the guy's account has been inactive for like 10 years.
2012.
2012. So a little over 10 years. He calls the guy and he goes, "Did you need help with your windows or warranty or anything like that?" And the guy goes, "No, I didn't call you. I'm fine. My windows are great." The guy's name on the ID, James Patterson.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Is that
I
crazy?
know.
Where that was going.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's some synchronous stuff that has happened.
That stuff happens all the time. Like where we went this past few days, the name of the place was also the name of the street, not there, like 11 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
That's a.
Chris goes, "No BS. I got chills again." Chris Noir has been with it. Chris Noir is from Trinity Paranormal. He's fun to work with. He's a great ITC guy.
Yeah, Chris.
We were with him at the Conjuring House up in Rhode Island.
Oh yeah, we were conjuring. He was conjuring with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's a trooper.
Yeah.
So wait,
Yeah.
Virgil is saying, so Bobby, all right, so some people say they don't fear the dead, it's a living that will harm you, but that isn't always true. His friend worked in a funeral home, and one day a coffin with a big guy in it slipped off the top shelf and crushed him. The pathologist said death would have been instantaneous.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That by fat guy.
That's like Final Destination kind of stuff.
It's like, damn. Smushed. Am I getting smushed by a coffin? That's not cool. But so
Yeah.
Yep. That just
So-
changed the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, we also wanted that at some point, so I'll do it now. Thank you guys, because we do watch your show every week. We do enjoy your show. Your guests were good. Bobby Gallo was on last week. We enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was a crazy one, wasn't it?
It was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And you always, at some point, mention us or what we do. I am a firm believer in that people don't owe you anything. You could still be our friends and not support and show that kind of kindness. It's not a prerequisite, but when somebody does it like you guys have done, we really appreciate it. It's very nice of you. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Well, we love you guys.
You're my
I
family.
love you too.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Loki's my little sister. Why
Yes.
Tell him why I call you Loki.
Say again.
Tell him why I call you Loki.
So the reason why Anthony, and now my nickname is Loki, and he's not the only one that calls me that, is because when Anthony first met me, he could not pronounce my name. And so he called me Lourdes, Lodi,
Locust.
Locust, a whole bunch of names until
Loco.
finally, probably until Loki stuck. Loki stuck. I was like, oh, I like Loki. Loki's cool.
Loki.
That's
So,
why. That's how I
just
got
can't
my
remember
nickname.
Lourdes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call you Lodi, Lada, Lulu, or whatever I called you. But so Loki. So whenever everybody hears me call you Loki, it's because you're my Loki.
That's right.
She's the goddess of mischief, Christoph Algod. I call him that because he got one of those automated things that calls his house for messages for something, if it's medication wise or something. He gets the calls and the voicemail says Christoph Algod. Instead of Christopher Allgood. So I've been saying it ever since he told me that.
It's funny.
That sounds like a story that comes from a GPS.
Right? Yeah, it's funny.
So, what do you guys got coming up? Anything soon or?
Well, we have the Hoover House on August 5th. I think that's the
Mhm.
next thing coming up.
Yeah, Paranormal
With
Retreat.
Pam Barry and Steve Barry in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
I think the day before they're having some kind of a fair or something. I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
August 4th. August 4th, they have a fair or some kind of a fair going on. And then August 5th, they have the paranormal retreat, and there's only 2 rooms left. So if anybody's interested, and it's in Waynesboro, New Jersey, which is like 30 minutes away from Gettysburg. So that's what we're doing next.
The Hoover House. Yeah. Pam and Steve Barry, the same ones that run the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash every year, which is a fundraiser for wounded warriors, which is very cool. Over $20,000 they raised this year. And they were the
other charities, because they had the unwrapped toys for the children, and there was I keep forgetting the other 2 charities, but there were 2 other charities there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did the charity for children with cancer, isn't it? Something like that.
It may have been. I forget when it was.
Yeah, so, they got a couple. I mean, every year they do a fantastic job. They really do. You know.
Yeah, they're good people, man. We love working with them. We got to speak and present Staticom for the first time in Lilydale, which is the birthplace of the modern day spiritual movement. A week before Gettysburg, they were up there. They had a presentation which was called "When Technology Meets Spirit." They asked us to come up and be a part of it. They said if you have anything innovative or different, they thought of us, which was super kind. And they dedicated like 45 minutes or so for us to do our presentation, share evidence stuff, and then we actually ran Staticom, and there were 2 women in the audience who, once again, digital seance moments. I don't know if you want to
you can go ahead.
Share what happened. Well, the one lady believed her. Well, actually, it was 3. Right, the one lady that her husband was coming through. The one that was she kept trying to ask questions. She was trying to.
Yeah, it was 3 women, but 2 of them got impacted strongly. So one of them was her husband.
Yep.
And so she was so excited. She was so excited that she wouldn't let anyone else speak. So there was another woman who was trying to contact her son. And she believed that her son was coming through because of the responses that she was getting. But every time she would ask a question, the other lady who got a response from her husband kept interrupting and asking more questions. So I had to kind of, it worked out fine.
You were the
I diffused it. Yeah, I diffused it. I was like, let her,
when hang to the ground, holding a headlock.
Yeah.
So, when her son came through, she got emotional because he said something that she believed was going on before, which was I heard, I watch you when you sleep.
Yeah.
And that was apparently very impactful for her because she felt that because her son, he passed during birth. So he never got to grow up. So she felt that he's always around her and that he would watch her when she sleeps. She's been feeling this for years.
And
this happened a long time ago. She's a medium, right? And when I heard that, she got very emotional. And then the other lady was her sister, and she got impacted because it was fresh. She lost her 2 or 3 months ago, and I think the circumstances was. I think she took her own life.
That was the implication. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't told, but it was the implication that she took her own life. So that was very impactful for her because the voice that came through was giving her relevant responses that only she would know. So those were 2 instances. And the other lady got all excited. I mean, which is great too. It's fine. She got all excited, but then she wouldn't give anybody else a chance to ask because she got so excited.
Multiple people at the same time in different parts of the room heard the same vocal responses. So that hearing what you want to hear, pareidolia kind of thing is really difficult to lay on that because they weren't all having the same thought, desire to hear the same thing at the same time. The lady whose sister she believed came through, she had to step outside. She actually left the room for a few minutes. She was in tears. She actually had to leave the sitting room. Yeah, she had to step outside. And that was what Giuseppe pointed out and that Lourdes said. That is probably for me now even more of a reward or fuels the passion for doing this because I had no idea that we were going to be able to do that for people. We're not deceiving people. We're not trying to sell them a bill of goods or whatever. We're just doing what we do. And if they hear something that's proprietary as far as info goes that nobody would know, and it adds up like the watch you when you sleep thing or something, then let them have that moment. We're not We're not leading them going, do you feel this? Did you think that? Did you see that? We're just asking questions. They ask questions, and what comes through, they hear it comes through.
Mm, that's interesting. When you get that, really is when you guys get all these people coming. I've been there with people already, and it's helps them. I know when I used to do investigation, private homes and stuff, and you get something, people just you there showing them that there might be a chance that contacting somebody they haven't spoke to in a long time. I had an 80-year-old woman crying on me, thanking me one time as I was leaving the house because we were doing spirit boxes, and between the spirit box and the obelisk, spirit box and the obelisk were like almost saying the same thing.
Right.
Like two different items, and this woman was like ecstatic. She was like, I haven't heard my husband, in years, and so she was like very happy when we left. It even said, and I have a clip of it. The one thing when I first got there, I put the spirit box on, and I have the camera on it, and the psychic that we had there, that guy Anthony, you remember him?
Yeah.
And he asked, "Does anybody want to talk to us?" And you could see the woman that was 80 and her daughter was like in the 60s, and they were standing just a little bit out of camera because I didn't want to catch them on the camera, so because I could use the clip, and all of a sudden they says, "Is anybody here?" And he says, "Walter," and you hear them both go. The daughter, she's like, "That's my father," and the other one saying, "That's my grandfather. He built this house."
Wow.
So it was like that whole night we were getting stuff. Plus they were electricians on Long Island. So, I was using electrical terms and stuff back and forth with them. And I was getting stuff. So it was pretty interesting. So, when people get that, they feel so, the closure, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. You're giving them a moment of peace, solace, closure. Even the lady was in tears in Lilydale. She came back and she was grateful for it. It was emotional. I mean, we've gotten stuff where I believe it was my mother. The woman said, "Ronnie, it's Mom, it's Lucy. I'm connecting." That was her mother and her. Can I prove that beyond all shadow of doubt to somebody who doesn't believe in this stuff? No. But you can, when you have a certain, and the courts do this too, a preponderance of evidence, when it stacks up enough where it's almost more absurd to think it's not what it is, then we'll entertain that possibility. It doesn't have to be decidedly, set in stone, because it's not for anybody else but the experiencer. And if that's what you believe and it's convincing enough, then so be it. We had one sitting here when I started asking for her, and a voice says, "Florence, it's your son." That was my mother's name. So should there be any voices there saying anything in that white noise? No, there's no data. Was it clear? Could I voice print and match that it said my mother's name? Yeah, I sure could. So now, what are the statistic odds that my mother's name would be spoken by anybody through something that is not a transceiver as we know it in modern physics and radio electronics, where there's microphones on both sides and speaker outputs on both sides where you can actually two-way communicate? That's not the arrangement that we're running. It's a closed circuit system, and we're not broadcasting out, which turns the whole thing on its head. And that kind of moves the discussion into consciousness, which to me is a big deal. Because when we say that we continue after physical death, when we say that there's something after this life now, what we're referring to essentially is your soul, your luminous essence, your consciousness. We're saying that consciousness continues. I find it to be almost a very understudied area in the ghost hunting or paranormal community. I'm not saying nobody, but I don't hear it come up a lot. And I think if that's what we all believe, we're communicating with all these different things, from dowsing rods to pendulums to spirit boards, spirit boxes, whatever. Why not learn what some of the theoretical people in sciences, in philosophy, and anthropology, what their takes are on consciousness, on the possibility that it does continue after physical death. And when you have that discussion, then you take from the person who goes, ghosts aren't real, and you put the argument in a different arena, because we know we have consciousness, right? Everybody. So it's whether or not it continues. So now you're changing the discussion whether or not consciousness continues, not whether or not who you're talking to exists. Now we're establishing that what we communicate with exists. Now we have to move on to, can we and are we communicating with it? And with that comes a whole other thing, which has to do with different aspects of studying consciousness, like qualia, having phenomenal experiences. It's a whole other can of worms. Not to open up at this time, but
that's another show.
Yeah, but it does set the stage differently.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know you got to leave about 9:30. How long is your clip? The other clip?
The other trailer is about maybe like 10 seconds longer than the first one. And we're good for, I guess if you are. I'm exhausted because I've been up late every night fixing the Staticom on the new computer. It's been going well now. Tony Rathman. It's funny, Tony and I have both had complications with the evolution of the process as operators.
Consciousness hunter.
There he is, Tony Rathman. We've both had complications with building it out. It's so funny. He and I have never had the same problem at the same time.
Thank goodness.
Right? Yeah, it would be a meltdown, because when I'm having issues, I come unglued. I'm like, what the? And then he's totally cool. It's fine. We're gonna do this. He's very measured, very fine. And then when it's the other way around, and he's like, what the? It's like, but we never have that moment at the same time.
And then he's like, it's cool.
It's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Then I become him. We switch roles.
Yeah. But to have them both like that, oh my goodness, I'll go crazy.
Yeah.
It's one at a time.
It wouldn't be good.
That's when you will be putting people on the floor in headlocks. Shut up.
So why don't we do your clip, and then we'll discuss it a little bit, and then maybe we could even leave. I can't even talk. I'm so tired because of everything we've.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
So maybe we could even leave a little bit early tonight, depending on how long.
Whatever you guys want. I had originally, when this is how tired I've been this week. When Anthony was telling me, I was like, all right, we should be able to make it by 7:30, 8 o'clock. I said, I'm going to be coming back from my son's mom's. I got to do something with him over there, whatever. And I thought the show was last night. And I watch it every week. I know what night it is. I thought last night was Thursday night.
Listen,
so technically, I'm already on the weekend.
When you don't know what day it is, that's when the problem occurs.
Yeah.
I don't know when I am.
Yeah. That deserves two. I don't know when I am.
Where we are, what we're doing, or what day.
No idea.
So.
Come on, Tony.
Yeah.
Come on, join us with the wave.
All right, go ahead. Share the.
Yeah. So this is the second trailer. Entire screen.
Chris is involved too. He said, neither do I. We all have so much stuff going on that we don't even know where the hell we are.
Right? All right, so this is the second trailer, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown, which I believe, and we'll announce it officially, but I believe the debut is going to be on Paraflix August 18th, which is just around the corner.
Virgil, you're allowed to stay, but behave.
Yeah.
All right, so you bring that other.
Okay, just came on.
Yep, and then I'm going to mute our microphone before we do it, because we can talk through this when you share a screen. So.
Okay, hang on.
All right.
Not there.
It's not letting me add. Okay, there we go.
No, you lost it again. You're not watching.
Add to stream.
You gotta go back.
It's up.
No, I don't see it.
It's like back and forth, in and out.
Okay, I don't see it.
Add to stream.
There it goes.
There it is.
For F's sake.
Are you good over there, Annie? Okay, because we could hear you talk. I thought maybe you couldn't hear us. Let me go back.
I didn't hear you, nobody.
I know we can hear you.
We can hear you because we're not the administrators of the show. We're just sharing screen, so we can hear you.
I'm not administrator.
Oh,
I'm the guy who up in the parking lot at the end of the night.
So then Maureen should mute all of us then.
Okay, I don't know if I could do that.
Just mute yourself, Aunt.
My name is Tracy. Can you tell me your name?
Something new that I haven't seen ever in the paranormal. There's nothing about this on TV or anything, so I figure let's give it a shot. Ma, if you're here, if you have Cookie with you, and Cookie bark for me? What?
I couldn't get radio reception or cell phone reception. There's literally no signal being broadcast from the tower that gets into this part of the earth.
Bachi.
That was clear.
Yacovetti?
Can you say Edgewater if you know who I am? I heard it.
Anthony, if you haven't unmuted yourself, please do.
I did.
Okay, good.
I'm unmuted. I know my wife would like to have a mute button for me, but it hasn't happened yet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the second trailer.
Did you recognize the guy in the beginning there?
Ah.
Yeah, I recognize him from somewhere. He's a good-looking guy, really good-looking. You know,
That's why I put him there.
As good as that.
That guy at the beginning?
Yeah.
I wish I looked as good as he did.
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy
Where
Lee.
are
Tammy
they?
Yeah, that I mean, the dog one was the best. Well, so that was something how that happened. You know, I did ask my mother to have Cookie, which was my dog when I was a kid. I said, Mom, is Cookie with you? Have a bark, and it barked. The best part about that video is sitting next to me is Kelly from Shanley Hotel, and her expression is like it's like unbelievable. And another thing about that, 30 people heard it. You had 30 people in that room that night. They all heard the same thing. So that was wild. It was a wild time.
Yeah. Thank you to Virgil, Chris, Nuara, Todd.
Well, Todd, to answer your question, when we first started doing direct radio voice, we would do one session a week, sometimes two, but we made sure we did that one session a week at the same day, around the same time. It didn't have to be punctual. We tried to be punctual, but it was the same weekday, same time. And then sometimes we would do a second one during the week, but at least once a week.
Yeah, and that was older director.
And anybody else that would help you with that was part of that?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Was nobody else part of that? Yeah.
Anthony would join us through Google Duo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would join us through Google Duo.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Duo.
Duo.
You and Anthony both from Queens say it sounds like dual, like you have swords.
No, I did not do the L purposely. I did not do the L purposely.
You picked that up at Selmer.
But the whole thing is what we did, and what, of course, you guys did all the work. I just sat there, like, but I was in Queens, and you guys are in Jersey, and I was hearing stuff over. And how many times that I'll throw a word out there and it come out on the thing also on you.
Yeah.
So
we thought when you were doing it with us often that your mom had come through a lot.
Sorry.
And it's funny because you should probably speak to this too. That was one reason we wanted you to do a testimonial. You had been involved with this earlier on before it evolved to what it is we're doing now. But what Lourdes said is true. For almost 3 years, we didn't miss a week. And then when the world shut down and everybody was kind of having paranormal withdrawal because they couldn't go anywhere, we didn't feel it. We were just, you know what? We're stuck and we can't go to locations. We don't need to. We're just going to do more sittings, and we recorded extra times. I run them at work, at lunch. I'll go in a back little office and I'll turn it on. Like every chance I can get to experiment with, try with it. We did all different stuff. We remember, Anthony, we did an experiment with you when you ran an S-Box, Ghost Box, non-sweeping, just on white noise, and you gave a buzzword. Mm-hmm. And then we asked for that word on our side, and we got it. And we called you after the recording was done, and we had gotten the word.
Yeah, I don't remember what the word, but yeah, that was interesting how that worked out. You know, how, you know, because I wasn't even there. I mean, I was on this little phone and sitting in the corner, you know, put baby in the corner type of thing, you know. And it was interesting working with you guys with all that. Yeah, you know.
I mean, it speaks to the what's a non-locality of spirit, right? The time-space limitations thing that we ascribe or live within, so to speak, according to contemporary physics. We don't think is applicable to all this stuff, right? How many times a couple weeks back when Tony and Shree were doing a digital seance initiative in Arizona, we ran concurrently here at home and we asked how many attendees they had. He didn't post it on social media. He wasn't doing anything that was visible unless you were in the room with him. The next day, I asked him, and the number of attendees he had was exactly the number we got when we asked.
That's awesome. Yeah. And how about how many times we went to locations? Look at Ritz Theater.
Yeah.
And you guys they were writing words and leaving them on the first floor. It was inside the bird cage.
Yep.
And then they went upstairs to the second floor, and whoever wrote it, and it came through. And it happened to multiple people, not just one person. It happened to multiple different people. I know it happened to you, too, Lourdes.
Yeah, what I loved about that is because, right, so Frank Adele, who helps run the Ritz Theater in what's the name of the town? Haddon Township,
New Jersey,
right?
South Jersey.
So
near Philly.
It was his idea, actually. Mm-hmm. So he wrote the word elephant, and he wrote. I'm sorry.
Jenny's in the audience.
Yes. Yeah. Team Parasite. Jenny, Anthony,
right.
Frankie.
It was Frank's idea though to do it. So he wrote the word elephant. Mm-hmm. So that came through. But what I liked about mine, I wrote the word flower, right? So what I love when I wrote the word flower and I wrote it in chalk. Anyway, I wrote it in
Chalk.
Yeah.
So
Chocolate. Chocolate.
what I liked was when my word came out, which was flower, he heard it. I didn't even have to say it. He was sitting there listening to it, and he turned, he says, "Was it flower?" And I was like, "Yes, that's the word. It was flower." So he heard it. I didn't even have to say, "Oh, I heard it." No, he heard the word, and that's what the word was. No one else knew what it was. And then I asked,
This part's my
well,
favorite.
what color did I write the letters in? The letters, flowers. What color? And I was thinking white, not really thinking chalk. And once again, Frankie was like, "It said chalk." I said, "Oh my God, I wrote it with a chalk pen." So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of amazing things happen with the spirit box, and not spirit box, the DRV. Did I say it right this time?
Yeah. You almost went down the DVR path, but you
Yeah.
corrected mid
I
consonant.
corrected. You always corrected me there.
Well, that was another thing we were up against too. Not only were we trying to get away from the box device idea of what we did, but we were also, because people knew from when it was more of a thing, I guess, like when TiVo first came out, and teams would record investigations, so people would keep saying DVR. And I was like, all right, this is going to be a very difficult naming convention thing we're up against.
We had the box, we had the DVR, we had a couple of challenges there.
So then this guy named Rathman comes along, and it's called Staticom. Not confused with anything.
He changed everything. The Rathman.
Yeah, the Rathman.
He brought the wrath.
Yeah, he put the wrath down.
So that was cool too, because when we did Montgomery House in May, that was the first time not only that the six of us got together, but that was the first time we actually ran DRV or now Staticom, either one, together in the same room. And that some of those clips were in that trailer, but the amount of stuff we got at that house that night that was just really clear and very, very timed and relevant was astounding. That was a awesome location and night.
Yeah. Yep.
That was good. So I know you got to leave soon. Anything you want to talk besides anywhere else you guys going to be appearing? I know you're going to be with Pam and Steve on the first weekend in August.
Yeah. Well, then in August, I have August 18th, we have the Cooper Grist Mill. It's a paper mill.
Oh, yeah, in South Jersey. The Red Mill. And the Red Mill in South Jersey. We're doing that with Daryl Marston from Ghost Hunters.
Well, yeah, I was going to get there. I was going in order. I didn't want to skip anybody.
I do the grill mill with you guys.
Cooper's the 18th. I'm sorry.
I know.
I was confusing Cooper with Red Mill.
That's why I was trying to handle it. But go ahead, you go.
Handle it now.
Handle it.
Handle it.
No.
Nobody handle it.
I'm wearing your thinking cap. You do it.
Yeah, so I like the cap, by the way.
We're doing the Cooper Grits Mill, which is with Richard Moschella. And is that a paranormal project or something else?
I think he just goes by Richard Moschella. All
right, so we're doing that. Anymore. It's a Friday, August 18th. And then after that, we're going to do Strauss Mansion, which is August 26th. Mm-hmm. Also with Richard Moschella, right? And that's Paranormal Project as well.
Yeah.
And
New Jersey Paranormal Project.
Yeah, New Jersey Paranormal Project. But there's other people involved. I'm just trying to, I don't remember who. And then we're doing
the
Red Mill, which is in September 2nd, and Daryl Marston will be there.
Right. And then
with Jocksnicks Paranormal. I'm sorry. Jocksnicks Paranormal is presenting that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say Jocksnicks. Chalk.
Yeah. When I heard that name, I was like the same way, so.
September 2nd, right? That's the Red Mill with Daryl Marston. September 16th, we're presenting and speaking at Sleepy Hollow Paracon in Sleepy Hollow, New York. We're doing a private library lecture event with Rich Michelle on the 22nd, and then Mass Paracon, right? September 29-30 up in Massachusetts, which is Patty Negri again.
Is
We
that
gotta
the
talk
Salem
about-
one?
We got to
I'm
talk
sorry?
about place.
Is that
We got to
Salem?
talk about place getting.
No, it's not Salem. It's Mass Paracon is in Massachusetts. No,
Yeah, it was. It was. What part was it in last time? It was not. It's not in.
no, it was
Not in
in
Salem.
Old Colonial. Where was Old Colonial?
Old Colonial Inn. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the town.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the town.
And then at the end of October, beginning of November, I think is right. 3rd, 4th is when the 3rd, 4th, 5th. That's the New Jersey Para Unity Conference Expo when we do. We have the ITC exhibit room.
Yeah,
Doing
so
that again. I'll be there with you again. I guess.
that's the most recent ones. We don't need to give them the whole year, but
Yeah.
The whole
those are
year.
most recent.
We got stuff coming for next year already. I mean, I'm getting.
We actually, yeah, we're doing the Hanover Tavern
Yeah.
Paracon in Virginia with
Next
Steve
year.
Dills from January already. He already booked us to do it.
Yeah.
To do a digital seance. And actually, you know what? Somewhere in the next couple months, my 4th book called The Paranormalization, Memoirs of an Academic Layperson, comes out through Beyond the Fray Publishing. The foreword for the book, I'm most honored to say, was written by Johnny Zappis.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
and within the book, there's a chapter which is called The Voices of Entity Voices, where Tony and Cherie, Chris and Audra, and then I'm waiting for one more person to finish.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Where the entity voices, people get to share their story, their origin stories in the field.
Lourdes, what else can you possibly have to do that you can't finish that?
Well, because the part that I'm gonna express, and it's an emotional situation for me. So I'm having a hard. I'll do it. I gotta get myself to actually like write that part.
Or it'll be in book 5.
He's acting like you have nothing else to do.
Tell all the books you did, Ron. Say the names. Maybe, you get some people. And where can we get them?
Oh, the books, Amazon. They're available on Amazon.com. I bring them to expos, of course, and I'll sign them for people if that's what they want, which is cool. I enjoy doing that for folks when they want the books signed. But yeah, Amazon.com. If you look me up, you can follow me as an author there. The books are all available. And the 4th one, hopefully soon. It's close to finished. Not just because of you.
I know.
But it's a work in progress. So it's almost done. It's got a lot of stuff on consciousness and a lot more philosophy in it. Which is, I think that's what's unique about my position of voice on ITC is it's not just technical and circuitry. It's a lot of philosophy, because that's, I think, the framework within which what we learn, what we speak, and how we share it is governed by our philosophy. We have a philosophy of life. You have a philosophy of how you do things, and I think it's another area that we need to, I think, focus on to give the most impact to the stuff that we're trying to do.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
You guys are always amazing.
Oh, this is
Tony
very
would
cool.
say, that's awesome.
Yeah, he does say that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's how he says it.
Tony's another one too. If you watch any evidence clip that he ever posts anywhere, when he gets a clear voice, he's grinning from ear to ear every
You
single
can
time.
tell. You can tell.
I love it. I love seeing that, because I know the feeling, and that's, this is a guy who his impact on what we're doing is also important, not just from the development, but this is a guy who built ghost boxes for 11 years, and good ones, and he never sold them because it was always about research for him. It wasn't a money making thing at all, and he did really well with ones that he built. We'd been with him when he'd used them.
I mean, really, his ghost boxes were one of the better ones out there, because even like in Kreischer Mansion, when we were there, it named everybody in that room. How many? It was like 5, 6 of us.
It was clear.
It named every single person. So his ghost box was pretty darn good one of the better ones out there, and he doesn't use it anymore because he fell in love with what we do.
Since he started doing direct radio and then now Staticom, he hasn't even turned the ghost boxes on. Positive. He just finished the first book. Yeah, so he liked I ended the chapter of the first book with some of the top ITC people of our time, giving their thoughts on the subject of the field, the area study, because that's what you do when you're in a community. You don't stand on the rooftops and shout, "How great am I?"
Thank you, Mr. Old God.
Yeah, you stand on the rooftops and you go look at the people that we have at this time who are doing what we're doing as a collective, and how cool is that?
Yeah,
I've always thought that, even in sports, right? In boxing, the fighters who were defined as all-time greats existed in eras like Sugar Ray Leonard at the same time as Hearns, Hagler, Duran. That made his legacy that much more because he wasn't the only superstar at the time. There was a whole ton of all-time greats that existed at the same time. So this is not a competition and an ego thing for us. It shouldn't be. The fact that I'm existing at a time doing a project with Lourdes and Tony and Cherie and Chris and Audra, and we do shows, and that's part of what makes the time that we're doing this good. Value.
So,
Well,
I don't want to keep you guys any longer. You know, I mean, I know you guys wanted to get off earlier, so we're keeping you. We could keep you for another half hour if you want us to.
we like to talk, you know.
I'm okay if you want, if you guys want to close up and have us go so you can do your thing. That's okay too. But I'm awake now. When the show's over, I may be sleeping under the dishwasher, and that's all right.
Yeah, because you know me. You know me. I'd keep you on the phone to midnight to like early parts of the morning.
He'll talk. We talked for 4.5 hours the other day,
wow.
Yeah.
and then we were like,
It
all right,
wasn't me. I sleep the whole time. They were driving. So hey,
yeah. Then we drove and saw each other.
so,
Yeah, it's the best for that.
Yeah.
We actually look at the navigation when we're driving somewhere, and we go, all right, we have 2.5 hours till we get there. We should call Anthony. Or we look at the navigation and go, we're going to be there in 45 minutes. We can't call Anthony.
Ron calls me up on the way home from work. He goes, "We got only 17 minutes to talk."
It's not even worth it to call at that point.
Because if not, I sit in my car, and half the time he's bringing me in with them. Okay, yeah. And I say, "Hey, Lourdes."
Yeah.
Hey, Lourdes, I'll just hang up because I see you right now. Well, guys, it's a pleasure seeing you as always, and I hope we get to see you soon in person.
Yes, that would be cool. We enjoyed that. We got to do it a few times lately, right? Pine Bush and then Gettysburg.
Were you gonna be at the New Jersey Expo, right?
No.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
We'll see you soon, though. We'll see you
soon. November.
I'm actually performing a wedding that weekend, and
Oh, all right.
so unfortunately, no. But I would love that. I've wanted to go to this one for a long, long time. I don't know. Maybe we should schedule something.
Yeah, we can schedule something.
Sleepy Hollow, it might be good mid-September. September
Sleepy
16th.
Hollow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the 12th. You guys are forgetting the 12th.
For your
What?
birthday, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't include it. It's not paranormal. It's his birthday. His birthday.
That makes it paranormal.
Well, his birthday is
It looks
August
paranormal.
13th, right? Your
I
birthday's
know,
the
but I'm
13th.
pretending I don't remember what it
You're going
is.
to get on Saturday. Day before. Hey,
The what? What is the
12th?
12th?
the 12th. You know, on this show we talk about paranormal and abnormal. So we
Yep.
talk about everything.
There's never any normal.
That's nothing normal here.
We love you too, Chris Nora.
Yeah, Chris Paranoia. He's awesome.
Anthnormal.
Paranormal.
All right, guys.
All right, well, I guess I'll see you on the 12th then.
The 12th. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
over there.
in the cold cuts,
Over
he
there,
said.
over there, over here. You know what I'm saying?
And we'll see you over there.
Yeah.
Bring cold cuts.
All right, well, we love you, and we'll see you soon. Everyone else, this is another episode of Dimensions of the Supernatural. I am Maureen Grudzinski. This is my co-host, Anthony Simonelli, otherwise known as...
Let's forget about it. Hey, have a good night.
We also have Ron Yacovetti, Lourdes Gonzalez.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Forget
Stay
about it,
tuned.
you guys.
for next week on Thursday from 7:30 to sometimes 9:30. We'll see you
Stay
again.
safe out there. You want to look for ghosts, not be a